Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Eating in Harmony with Nature, the Digestive System. Presenter is this evening is Dr. Kaushik, the owner and chief medical practitioner of Dr. Kaushik's Ayurvedic and Naturopathic Clinic located in Cross River, New York. He is one of the most experienced Ayurvedic physicians in North America and the founder of the Institute for the Advancement of Ayurvedic Sciences, a research and teaching institution. Dr. Kaushik's next presentation is Eating in Harmony with Nature, the Urinary System. This online program will take place on Tuesday, September 9th from 7 to 8 p.m. You can register on our library's calendar or by emailing me, donald@adult@paulinglibrary.org. Tonight's lecture is being recorded. All participants' audio will be turned off until the end of the program, and at that time, you'll be able to ask Dr. Kaushik questions. Recording of tonight's program will be available upon request. Thank you again, Dr. Kaushik.
Thank you, Don, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening. The purpose of these presentations was to give information and so that individuals who are into self-care, they can take care of themselves. And also if they feel that there is a need for a professional opinion, they can contact me or contact any Ayurvedic doctor in the area. Naturopathic doctors, they offer basically a lot of similar thing. So goal is to be able to take care of yourself as much as possible by changing your diet, changing your lifestyle. Again, food is medicine, so we always talk about the food. But again, before that, we give some introduction about what happens in each system. So this month's system is the digestive system. The digestive system, as you know, is the core of everything. Everything our brain, heart, kidneys, lungs, every organ gets is if it is absorbed properly by the GI tract or the gut. So the digestive system in Ayurveda actually takes the central role. Doesn't matter what happens, if somebody have allergies, if somebody have any kind of infection, if somebody is developing something more frequently, we always look at the gut because whatever is processed and absorbed by the digestive system, it is the base of all health in every organ of the body, every cell of the body. So generally, when you look at the system, we like to see what is involved. Consists of mouth, where again there are accessory organs, tongue, teeth, chewing process, pharynx, throat, esophagus, stomach, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, small intestine. Again, gallbladder goes with the liver, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. So it's a long tube. Again, from the mouth to esophagus, mouth to stomach, there's no absorption, no absorption. Even the stomach, they have no absorption except it releases its storage, releases, mixes everything, releases hydrochloric acid. And then when it goes to, from the stomach, as it passes through duodenum, that's where the bile is added, which is released by the gallbladder and stored and produced by the liver. And so in that case, small intestine does most of the function and then goes to the large intestine as before it goes to, out through the body. And so we look at the entire organ system, seeing where the problems can happen and what are those problems. Constipation, looking at the modern world, is the biggest problem at this time because a lot of people do not have defecation at least twice a day. So in that case, when it sits there, and then colon cancer is one of the reasons when we see that is on the rise, is because the constipation, almost 70+% adult population is constipated and they don't even know it. I find people who are going once every other or third day, but again, there are some who go once a week and once 2 weeks also, and that you can imagine what happens in the body. When you look at the digestive system, you always look at, as a second brain, reason being it has more neurons than is thought to be, in the brain. So we always say that mind over body. So mind controls the body, but again, they're also saying that mind is also controlled by the second brain, which is in the gut. So what is GI tract have all these bacteria, all these are also making a big change in our life, but also the neurons. And then the gut is affected by the tertiary third brain, that is the emotions. So anytime we are emotional upset, the second brain, the gut also gets upset. So people have sometimes diarrhea, some people have constipation, or they don't feel good in their gut. And so it's all connected. So emotions definitely play a huge role. But again, second brain is bacteria is everywhere. Bacteria live on the skin, nose, and in our GI tract. The gut is where your immune system first encounters any bacteria or parasite internally. The digestive system has its own nervous system, which is dubbed as the second brain. So you always look at the gut lining. But what is protecting the second brain is the largest mucous membrane. So with the mucous membrane is the first line of defense. We always see if the mucous membrane is intact. If that is intact, then gut is also doing the job. Same thing when it comes to when it comes to the respiratory system, the nasal passageway, and also the alveolar sacs. We look at the mucous membrane again. So mucous membrane need to be kept intact. So when we look at the gut, we want to make sure we do not use excessive alcohol, excessive dry things, smoking. All those habits actually destroy the mucous membrane, and with that, we are starting the second journey or the disease process, where in the beginning is disease, and eventually, if that's not taken care of, it becomes a disease, which we basically, then we have to take different measures to correct that. Goal is to bring the harmony in the gut. So when the gut is happy, a healthy belly creates happiness. So use only those foods which makes you internally feeling satisfied, internally feeling happy. Not too spicy, not too cold, nothing frozen, easy to digest. Again, digestion also takes place in the small intestine and then goes to large. But before that, it has to be ready for digestion. That's where the accessory organs come, where the liver and the gallbladder and the pancreas, all these glands are there to release the digestive enzyme or hormones, and those need to be kept in mind. Also, it means their health is also important. So do not use things which are going to interfere with their function. Symptoms of unhealthy digestive system. There are many ways that an unhealthy gut can manifest. Some commons are fatigue. So when we are not absorbing the nutrients properly, doesn't matter what we eat. And sometimes patients will come and they says, "I always use organic food. I always buy from whole food." But that doesn't make any difference at all if you eat healthy food, organic food, but if you're not absorbing it properly. And before we absorb, you need to be prepared for absorption, which means chewing process. Many times we spend hours and hours cooking, and then we finish that food in 5 minutes. I see people when we go to sometime restaurant. I used to have an office in New York City, and every Thursday I'll go to a restaurant, and I see people standing in line for 30 minutes. By the time my turn comes, they already ate. So they just basically stuff everything inside and ready to go. Well, they have not chewed, so they're stuffing and clogging their gut. It's not going to move. There's no grinders in the gut. Grinders are only in the mouth. So use them properly. And I always tell, no tooth left behind. Make sure every tooth get a chance to bite. So if you have 32 teeth, if you're chewing that and biting it 30 times, definitely is going to be a paste. So grind your food very well, especially people who eat salad. They think salad is going to be absorbed properly, but no, yeah, these are the green cellulose and all these fibers stuffing the gut inside. But it is not going to be mashed because gut does not have a grinder. There's nothing to cut, there's nothing to chop. It's a mixing moment. If it's chewed properly, it's going to be mixed properly, and that is where it's going to become a chime, the paste, and from that the nutrients are going to be extracted, released. But if it is not chewed properly, nutrients are not released, doesn't matter what you eat. So fatigue, gas, bloating, flatulence, very common. Skin rashes, brain fog, of course, brain is not getting all the nutrients. Autoimmune conditions, IBS, depression, weight gain. All these are just some of the symptoms. There's so many, but what Ayurvedic medicine tells does not matter what you have. First thing you look at is the gut. Always ask questions. Sometimes people will irritate when I ask them, your bowel movement, constipation, all these things. Well, I have allergies. Will we get there? So they want to just get something for allergies, something and antihistamine and just get better. But why are developing allergies? Because body does not have a strong immune system to fight. Everybody living in that area, living in that house, living in that environment is not getting allergies. Some people do, many not. So it means if their immune system is intact, is strong enough to fight all these dust particles, all the pollens that are always there every year in the same environment, but certain people have those. It means something is entering in their nostrils, mucous membrane is not intact and is going to go to the bloodstream. And also same thing with the gut. We eat certain food, something we sometimes we inhale or engulf through mouth goes inside. And if the digestive system is not properly working, immune system definitely is going to be compromised. And now we see lately in last 10 years, autoimmune conditions, everything you find, if some for some reason we're not figuring out autoimmune condition because immune system is down for most of the individual. So when you look at the digestive system is in Ayurveda, you look at Agni. So every time we talk about Ayurveda, you look at the three doshas, which means the five element theory. And we have repeated that so many times. I'm sure most of you probably memorized that. So looking at the space, air, fire, water, earth, combination of these five, space and air makes Vata. Fire and water makes pith, water and earth makes kapha. Kapha makes structure, pith makes all the metabolism, transformation, all the enzymes, all the hormones, and vata, because of air, is the movement. So is the energy of movement. Everything moves inside the body. The motor sensory pathways, nervous system function, the cardiovascular system, and the respiratory system, digestive system, wherever we see any movement, excretory system, all that is because of the Vata. So after that concept, second is Agni. Agni is the heat. Our temperature is 98.6. There's some reason for that. So heat is very important. If that heat is not there, certain enzymes are not released, and the food we eat is not transformed to different forms. For example, whatever we eat is going to be with the help of Agni, and extract of that will nourish the fluid. Fluid has 70% of the body's fluid. Extract of the fluid with the help of the Agni and the heat is going to be extract into and will nourish the blood. Extract of blood will nourish the tissues, ligaments, tendons, muscles. Extract of the tissue will nourish the fat. Extract of the fat will nourish the bone, bone to bone marrow and nervous system. And then the genetics and the reproduction of new cells for repair and growth. So all that involves Agni, the heat. Most of individuals, when we see them, temperature is below 97, some have even 96. But that is the first reason they are developing all these conditions. If our temperature stays above 98, there is no reason to develop common conditions. Of course, there are certain things we can't prevent. For example, somebody have an accident. Well, an accident, there's nothing what we can do. But again, people get common cold, flu, just a cough, sneezing, anything comes in the environment, they get bacterial infections. And eventually, if the body is collecting all these toxins inside, then we get the chronic disease, hypertension, high cholesterol, arthritis, diabetes, and you can go on and up to the cancer. It's just growing like crazy. So fire element is very important, governs the transformation because the body is transforming every day. Governs digestion, absorption, assimilation, and transformation of food into energy. So it's very important that we maintain our temperature. If we see temperature is low, then externally or internally increase temperature, which means by eating only warming food, nothing cold, nothing frozen, no ice, no ice cream. Those are not natural. Just warming foods only because you're sporting this body. Naturally, this body is hot, 98.6. So do not put 0 degree temperatures food in this body. Is going to draw heat from you and make this body weak, make the digestion weak, make the transformation weak, compromise the body. So room temperature 70 degrees is okay because 70 to 98 still a big difference if it's not warm. But again, 0 to 98 is a huge difference. So frozen food, refrigerated food is about 40 degrees. That is also prevented. So if you have certain thing in the food in the refrigerator, take them out at least an hour early and then before consumption, and then after that you can warm up on the stove. Again, if you're eating the room temperature, that is also okay, but not the frozen or refrigerated. So make sure heat is there. And because of that, if the imbalance happens in the Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, Vata will make Agni will variable. Sometimes is high, sometimes low, sometimes okay. Pitta increase Agni, more heat, and Kapha decrease Agni, make it more sluggish. So Kapha people who are mostly overweight or gaining weight is easy, their absorption is kind of slow all the time. They will eat lunch and they say, well, I'm still full until like evening. Whereas the pith increase Agni is the heat. Pith is combination of water and fire. More Agni, so they will eat, and after an hour, they're hungry again. So very strong appetite. So our the actually goal is to make it balanced. State of Agni determines the health of the digestive tract. So Agni, heat, temperature is very important. Factors that weaken Agni is poor diet, insomnia, suppression of emotions, vitamin and mineral deficiency, and the lifestyle. And lifestyle we know is at this point is becoming more and more important because we do not have any life, only have style left. So that style which is taking away our life is not a lifestyle. So people will stay awake in the night until 2 a.m. because they're watching their favorite show, or some individuals are on the little cell phone all day because they're checking WhatsApp or messages. And most of the time are those people who have no business of cell phones. They're not working, they're retired. They're killing time. Why not spend time with friends or go for a walk or play with your pet or just get involved in something else instead of getting a stagnation and sitting at one place 4 to 5 or 6 hours watching this tube or cell phone. I see some young children, instead of playing in the ground, they're sitting on the one side and just texting. Texting for what? You can talk. And so basically that is becoming a lifestyle where, so in generally what we see that the pit time is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the day. So that's where the digestion takes place at the optimal level. So means our lunchtime should be around 12 o'clock. In the evening, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., that's where the repair comes in the body. So damaged cell during the day are repaired, replaced during the night. If we are not sleeping a sound sleep between 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., their crew or repair crew will come and leave. So this is waiting for you to be sleeping. That's where the dark hormone is produced. And when the dark hormone is produced, melatonin, that's where you're sleeping. That's where repair takes place. And if you are staying awake until 2 a.m., then no repair taking place. So making sure sleeping on time. So insomnia again becomes a big part. Poor diet, eating food which are not according to your body type or dosha. So in the winter, eating colder food, in the summer, eating some warming food, or in the or food which are so acidic or so alkaline. So there's also a concept where people trying to control what needs to be done internally. I'm on alkaline diet, I'm on acidic diet. Let body decide that. When we eat a normal food, which has good amount of carbohydrate, protein, fat, and minerals, basically plenty of water, 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. Then as we chew, the saliva mixing with the food, creating the chyme, and with that, the lining of the stomach will produce hydrochloric acid, will determine how much acidic we need. When the acidic food is going to the duodenum, based on the acid, the receptors, neuroreceptors will sense that, or sensory receptor will sense that, and the bile is going to be released from the gallbladder, which was made by the liver and stored in the gallbladder, and that will make the food neutralized. At that point, depending upon if it has more carbohydrate, protein, or fat, the pancreas will release the enzymes. So basically, let body decide how much acidic or how much. So if we start mixing that from outside, then the internal organs are going to be surprised what is coming inside and should we produce more acid or more alkaline or any enzyme. So we need to be eating. So those lifestyle actually is very, and then suppression of emotion, like we mentioned before. Our body is controlled by the mind is controlled by the gut is controlled by the emotions. So if something is not satisfying you, need to learn to say it, speak up, so that you're not suppressing. Otherwise, the entire body starts suppressing slowly, 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 and later on is going to become up as a big problem when it develops into a disease. Vitamin mineral deficiency is a big part. Vitamins are supposed to be generally made by the bacteria in our large intestine. And when we develop those, they will be taking care of it. But when we start taking the ready-made vitamins, which is again from the childhood, then your natural vitamin production is compromised because body works on a negative feedback system. If something is sufficient, then there's bacteria who are supposed to be making them, they'll stop making. That's one thing. Minerals and deficiency, all these coming from our food quality. Number one is the food is not organic. Then look, always find local farmers who will be truthful to you to some extent. and fresh food that is there, fresh vegetables that they are not there. They're not coming from some other continent of the, this world. And how long they have started, we have no idea. So locally grown food, they will export it like I'm being supported by this environment. If I live in this area and the air and the water quality, earth is supporting me, similar thing is with my food. If it's grown here, that will have the same quality, same minerals. And also when we use a lot of chemicals in those food, that is also gone. Preserved food, same thing. People will get frozen food, preserved food, and warm them in the microwave. That is also basically damaging everything which is left. And on top of that, when we are looking at the food quality, even though we put in the refrigerator, after 48 hours of refrigeration, food is not the same. After 3 days, it's not even edible. So every time after 24 hours, start losing is the quality. And if you're keeping that, even though if refrigerator is able to keep for a week or 2 week, is not much left. So fresh food, again, if there's a leftover from the morning, finish by evening. If there's a cooked in the evening, you can have maybe by next lunch. But plan to use enough, cook enough, and you know how much family eats. A little bit leftover, great, but not more than that. And not for a week, so that you can be drinking the same soup for the whole week or eating the same vegetable or same thing for weeks to come. So that basically is the our cooking style, and the putting in the refrigeration preservation, I mean, keeping that for a long period of time, that will be actually destroying all the vitamins and minerals. That is where the deficiency come. But mostly the preserved food, which is going to radiation that is comes to the US. So US food quality is also very compromised. All the genetically modified food which we produce here, of course, a lot of crops, and we're trying to push that to the rest of the world. Not a great idea, because we see more and more and more sick people here at home, and we see that just because of the food is not the there's we don't have food to eat. We eat a lot of food. We waste a lot of food, but the quality of the food is gone. Cows used to be vegetarian, eating grass. Now we are feeding cow, meal or bone meal to the cows. Of course, we get more milk, but how good is that meat? That meal, we see that how many children, or adults cannot drink the milk which we used to drink along 1 pint. That milk is no good. So basically, quality of the food need to be, and then we have A2 milk. So all of a sudden, these old system is coming back, finding that milk we are producing is not a good milk. So why not we change? And so locally grown food, I always suggest, will be the best food. And go local farmers. If you find any dairy farm which have raw milk, probably that'll be the best thing. The rest of the world drinks that milk and being healthy. So why not we? The enteric system, composed of two thin layers of more than 100 million nerve cells that line the gastrointestinal tract from the esophagus to rectum. So just look at these nerve cells. So neurons are there. Main role include digestion, elimination, releasing enzymes that break down food. So we see that. Vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body, and that acts to connect from all these basically digestive organs. We see that that is very, very important, responsible for relaxing blood vessels, activating the salivary gland, and smoothing the tissue, go good direction. Healthy function is linked to lower the heart rate, blood pressure, and regulate stress level. So stress is number one factor which is destroying people's health. For some reason, everybody is stressed. Many of those are unnecessary. They can be they can be eliminated by creating a change in our life, which we call satisfaction. Whatever I have is plenty for me. We keep accumulating, we keep struggling, and one day, basically, the life is slipping out of our hand, and we feel like I have never lived this life the way I wanted. So creating happiness is, to some extent, is in our hands, where we find happiness within by thanking God. So prayers are important. Thanking our neighbors, whoever we meet, greet people, because we are not here permanently. And so in that case, the gut, where we feel, we always see, I feel my gut feeling. So go with the gut feeling. It means gut does feel, because it does have neuron. And in that case, whatever my gut feel, if I go with that, everything will be good, or most of the things will be good. Microbiome is very important. There are many types of bacteria present in gut microbe, almost equal to the our cell number. So usually estimates that 75 trillion cells are trillion cells in the body and 75 trillion gut microbe or bacteria. Some bacteria are beneficial, providing us essential function for health, so such as producing vitamins and basically butyrate. Some amounts for opportunistic microbes are also present. Many commensal microbes live in harmony and are harmless to our body. The key is the microbes and the surrounding, that is the gut health. So basically, if the microbes are healthy and if you're providing them a good environment, then the gut will be healthy and the entire health will be good. We are host of trillions of bacteria in the colon. So keep that in mind. But anytime we take certain food or antibiotics or any strong drugs, that will destroy good bacteria also. Of course, then we take probiotic, but before that we have to take prebiotics so that the gut health can be restored. And most of the time, the gut health is damaged, and we keep taking probiotic, but will not do anything. Healthy microbe helps protect from the infections and chronic disease like Crohn's disease, diabetes type 2, obesity, heart disease, the many of them, almost everything. Linked to many other conditions like depression, Parkinson's, autoimmune disease, and allergies. How does bacteria break down most of the uh, dietary fiber and turn into vitamin and short chain fatty acids, which are very important for health? If there is not enough diversity of bacteria type causes dysbiosis, causing digestive problems. So that's becoming a big problem. Dysbiosis when the bacteria move from a one place where they're supposed to be to a place where they're not supposed to be, mostly small intestine, then dysbiosis, and then they move to many other places. So now they call the SIBO, but again, different name, same problem. They're not supposed to be in small intestine. If there is not enough diversity, then again we have basically a lot of inflammation. Bifidobacteria are the first bacteria to colonize the gut. It is acquired during vaginal childbirth and breast milk. So again, some children who are born with C-section, they will not get those bacteria. But again, the secondary possibility will be the breast milk. So breast milk is very, very important for the immune health of the child and also for this bacteria. Bifidobacteria make up about 90% of an infant's gut microbial ecosystem from birth to about 3 years of health. After that, decreases to about 5% in the ecosystem. So in the first few years of life, extremely, extremely important. So when we are, for some reason, have to go C-section, then the baby actually is already compromised. At that point, the breast milk actually is giving the immune system. Bifidobacteria are versatile and thrive on a number of different compound, most found in the plant food. Basically, looking at the plant-based diet is always giving us more and more nutrients. Prebiotics is simply vegetable, fruit, nut, whole grain. And so if you are eating more fiber, more plant-based diet, then the prebiotic is already there, which means giving the environment in the gut for the bacteria to grow. So bacteria we can give by probiotic, but again, if the environment is not healthy, then how they will grow. So goal eventually is to basically grow the bacteria inside. If somebody is taking probiotic for entire life, it means it's just wasting because they don't stay inside, or you are putting so many seeds, so they are not a place to grow them. So in generally, we give probiotic for about 3 months, take a big break. If the person is not complaining anything, then you know that your prebiotics gut health is good, and the bacteria have grown and they have colonized, and then you don't need anymore. So in the Ayurvedic perspective of health, we mentioned that every time some dosh, samagnish, samadhatu, malkriya, prasanna atma, indriya, mana, swasti dibhitete. Swast means health. Dosha, all the three dosha, vat, pitta, kapha, need to be some. Some means balanced. Balanced Agni, not too hot, not too cold, so enough to metabolize the food and transform the food. Samadhatus, all the seven dhatus, fluid, blood, tissue, fat, bone marrow, the nervous system, genetic material, reproduction, all these need to be balanced. It means whatever we eat, it transforms into the next dhatu. Malkriya means excretion, that we have a regular, good, healthy bowel movement twice a day, urination, everything else to be, just runs properly. Prasanna means happy, Atma, and the soul inside, Indriya, the sensory receptors. And we feel healthy, we feel happy. That is swastha, that is called the health. Anytime I'm angry, frustrated, stressed, that is unhealthy. And it basically have to start from inside out when we are internally feeling satisfied by taking care of health. And number one place is the gut health. If gut is healthy, every other organ will be nourished properly. So now we come to the most important part. The food is medicine. Ahar is the food. If we eating healthy food, or if we add certain things in our food on daily basis, definitely we'll see the difference. So in cooking, using ginger increases pitta, improves circulation, and so it's actually really a digestive stimulant. You feel more hungry. So ginger bread started a long time ago, and we still see ginger bread. Only thing is the ginger from that bread is out is sugar and wheat, and then maybe some fat, and on top of that we sprinkle little ginger. Ginger bread should have a lot of ginger. So instead of all that dough, we should have a lot of ginger, so that is given to children small amount, so their digestion is good, and so the digestion is good, they grow at a balanced health. Turmeric, anti-inflammatory, also is also an antiseptic, antihistamine. So turmeric is called now it's golden herb because it can be used for every condition. And so turmeric is also something we need to be using in cooking. The garlic, antioxidant, and is good for the heart and the blood vessels also. So garlic need to be used. Ajmasin are called the nociceptive, good for pain, and we give them to little children. Sometime boil that, give children, so that when they eat certain unhealthy food, since children usually small, infants don't do much of exercise, so in that case, good for their appetite, and also if they have any colic pain, something that takes care of that. So fenugreek, excellent for osteoarthritis, also for sugar balance. So people who are diabetic or people who have issue with the imbalance in the sugar level, then they should be using a lot of fenugreek tea, or you can add that in your ajma and fenugreek together. Saffron is basically so fenugreek is also used in weight loss. So basically, again, obesity is a big problem with the blood sugar level. Saffron can be used for everything. So when you're looking at the uh, you know weight loss, nausea, hypertension, high cholesterol, immune system, so saffron used to be a main ingredient in Ayurvedic supplements, but again, since this became the most expensive spice to use, so it slowly found its way out because it was very. But now here we can find saffron. Use small pinch in the food, not to show on the top. Just grind that so you can really absorb inside the body. Beets basically are good for lowering cholesterol, also for nausea. It has a lot of magnesium. So beetroots should be used frequently, so that person who have either constipation or high blood pressure, or are not easy to relax for those people, not sleeping properly. So beet actually is good because of magnesium and the fiber, that will be helpful. Green leafy vegetable, again, they're also lowering cholesterol, improves brain function, and easy to digest. Only thing is when we are using a lot of greens, especially rhubarb and spinach, they have basically a lot of oxalates. So make sure you cook them. In fact, all green leafy vegetable should be sauteed before consumption because of the oxalates. So we do not want that problem, and we want their iron, we want their fiber, other nutrients they have. But again, everything we eat should be cooked or sauteed, nothing cold anyway. But again, there are people who are used to eating salad and then eat cucumber, eat onion, and those two you can eat. But others should be green, should be cooked a little bit or sauteed. Lettuce, basically a lot of cellulose and water. Then there's no need of cooking them. You can chew them. Only condition is, like I said before, if you're eating salad or raw food, that has to be chewed until it becomes a paste. So that one. Ahar continues, probiotics and prebiotics. Yogurt contains probiotic. Again, homemade is always the good. Get a good starter. Warm up the milk, or almond milk or cashew milk. I put a little starter. By next day, will be ready in 4 or 5 hours. Now they have these yogurt makers. You put and cover. That's basically 4 hours later, yogurt is ready. Chia seed, excellent source of fiber and work as prebiotic. Papaya contains digestive enzymes. So in the season, make sure Uh, Papaya is consumed, and the whole family can eat that. Taste doesn't taste bad. It's actually good taste and very low glycemic index, so it can be used by people who have issue with the diabetes also. Miso and fermented food increased good bacteria in the gut. Kimchi and again fermented food increased good bacteria in the gut. So basically, there are many things which you can use at home also. But again, this is not a food which sits outside for 2 weeks and got fermented by not being used. That is not fermentation. You make certain things which will increase bacteria quickly, and sauerkraut, for example, a lot of pickles. And actually, culture I came from, we use make a lot of pickles, and those pickles are really good for digestion. And depending upon the season, depending upon the family, we make chutneys basically, and the chutneys are made of coriander. So there's a coriander chutney, there's a mint chutney, there is a tamarind chutney, there is a coconut chutney, and those chutneys are for different individuals in the family. All the girls which have the issue generally for the hormones, mint chutney is recommended. All the young boys which you want them to stay a little cool and not overacting their hormones, coconut chutney. Coconut chutney is cooling, and but also have a lot of omegas. Anybody can use that, but especially for the young teenage boys, the coriander chutney is cooling. And so basically everybody is different chutney. So that's why there are different chutneys. But nowadays people have forgotten the use of them. We think it's for spicy, and we add a lot of jalapeno, lot of spice in them, and eat drop full. No, they were consumed in table to 2 tablespoons each individual. And now still is the summer time, so we make a lot of coconut chutney from fresh coconut. And since have a lot of omegas, and omegas are very, very important, so we consume 2 to 3 tablespoons of that. You don't need to add a lot of spices now to burn your tongue and the stomach. It has a purpose, and so those chutneys are there. And so they're still available. People can make them at home. Many individuals I have met, they make them. And so same thing with the yogurt can be made at home. Same thing with the paneer, which is pure protein, can be made at home. Ghee can be prepared at home, those things at home. So basically, look for the local farmers where they have the dairy or the farm, and also with the vegetable, and make pickles at home. And so for example, if you make a cucumber pickle, you just chop a cucumber into pieces, put a little bit of black pepper, if you want, Himalayan salt, and then you can add a little bit of mustard oil or sesame seed oil or olive oil, and then you grind mustard. So you grind mustard seed, and in one cucumber you put 1 tablespoon of ground mustard seed, and with that sourness, a couple of days the fermentation start, and then on the third day your cucumber pickle is ready. Not much of that, and it's tasty. So certain things can be done where you can ferment food by adding small amount of the sugar sometime, which we use jaggery instead of sugar, or you can use the basically date powder, or and with that you can also use something sour, which I mentioned recently, uh, the, the mustard seed powder that is very sour in taste. So they'll produce quickly. We can talk about this all day. Continue with the food. Ginger reduces heartburn, gas, nausea, and stomach discomfort. Dark green vegetable, excellent source of magnesium, helps relieve constipation, but again, they have to be cooked. Salmon, excellent source of omega-3 fatty acid and reduces inflammation. Bone broth, we don't recommend that. High in glutamine and glycine aids food pass more easily. So when you look at the salmon, again, big source, again, about 30 years ago, we used to recommend a lot of fish oil. But after the Gulf oil spill, the oil actually was not that bad, but the cleaning products used actually destroyed the whole, sea life. And after that, we start seeing more and more problem. Recently, all the floating island of plastic, which fish will bite. So now the fish also not only have a lot of mercury, but also plastic. So estimates are by the scientists that every one of us have at least 1 teaspoon of plastic in our brain. So no wonder the dementia, Alzheimer, all these mental conditions in elderly population is increasing, because as we reduce the weight by reducing fat as we get older, then that becomes more concentrated. So fat actually dissolves the toxins. So more fat we have, that helps, but had to be good fat. So since we are not using much of fat and we are becoming more fat conscious, well, it's not the fat, it's the type of fat which makes a difference. So we'll see more and more of the plastic. So after that, we start thinking about other sources of omega-3 and found the flaxseed powder, flaxseed oil, and coconut also is a good source. So instead of using, so in the summer, we use a lot of coconut. Coconut is not good in the winter because very cooling, especially living in the tri-state area. And then the flaxseed powder, flaxseed oil, but the flaxseed powder should be grounded. You should grind that every week. Do not get pre-grind, which is sitting on the shelf for a couple of months because it basically oxidizes and also evaporates the oil. So you buy the flaxseed. Every week on Sunday, you grind that, use that during the week, or fish or the oil, flaxseed oil will be very, very good for as for omega, good for cardiovascular system. Prebiotic, probiotic, we look at the heart. These are some of the sources, liver, basically looking at all these things, carrot juice, liver, again, mostly is the liver. Spirulina is also a good source, dandelion leaf, sweet potato, carrot, mango, spinach. So it tells how much, how much we'll be giving enough beta carotene. And so this continues. So again, you can see that. Um, Continue with the food. Apple, rich source of pectin, soluble fiber, very important. We need the fiber. Chia seeds, beets, we talk about this. Artichokes are really, really important. Barley, cooling though, but again, good fiber. Black beans, bran flakes, broccoli are really good. Only thing is that broccoli and beans do produce some gas. So when you're cooking them, make sure you're putting ginger and you're also putting some good oil. Ghee will be good. If not ghee, then you can use almond oil, sesame seed oil, walnut oil, olive oil. They're good sources. Complex carbs. Fennel is good for especially small children if they have a lot of gas. Green beans, green peas, lentils. Again, all the dry lentil beans do have tendency, the good source of protein, but they have tendency of producing gas. So make sure you soak them properly. After soaking them, when you cook them, making sure you chop onion, ginger, garlic, tomato, and put some good amount of fat. So that will take away. That also becomes very tasty. Pear with skin, raspberries, split beans, turnip beans, whole grain, and basically, so that'll be good. Again, you can find the grain which are generally which are not genetically modified. So for that reason, lately I've been telling everybody just beet free, and if you can get something quinoa is good. You can eat basically basmati rice, brown rice, millet. So all these are good grains. There are many good, ancient grains. Find them and use them. So they are not genetically modified yet. Corn is one thing which we find genetically modified, or there are some places you can find regular old corn. Corn is one grain which has 20 amino acids out of 21, but they're released only in the presence of sour taste. So when we are here baking the corn and not putting lemon juice on them or tamarind juice on them or mango powder with them, they are not releasing any amino acid. Only thing they're releasing is the sugar. So that is why in case of diabetes or individuals, I mean, we see a lot of corn syrup, and that actually is not a good source of sugar. Corn is not for sugar. Corn actually have amino acid, and but again, if you are cooking corn, must use something to say, squeeze a lemon, sour taste. Then they will release the amino acid, which are very, very essential for our health. Now we come to the lifestyle. So first in Ayurveda, we always look at the food, then the lifestyle. At the end, we use the Aushadhi, the medicine supplement. Deep breathing is very important. Calm the autonomic nervous system. So look at the vagus nerve again for calming that, deep breathing. In generally, for the gut health, also for brain, for the entire body, deep breathing is important. Number one thing we require for a life is oxygen. And we generally do not use 100% of our lungs for absorption or gas exchanges. 30 to 40% is used when we're using shallow breathing. So a deep breath actually borders. So if we make a habit of multiple time during the day, taking long deep breath, fill the whole chamber. So generally, any regular breath we call the tidal volume, we take only 500 cc of air. But a long deep breath can hold 5,000 liters of air. So just imagine how much extra air, how much extra oxygen we can get if we take 10 to 20 or 30 long deep breaths during a day. If you are a person who spend time in meditation, In the morning, do pranayama, deep breathing, 10 15 minutes of deep breathing in the morning and evening, and you will be surprised how well you feel immediately. Yoga, increase circulation, decrease inflammation. Very important, meditation. Just spending time with yourself, away from the noise and any disturbance. Just detach yourself for 30 40 minutes an hour if you can. Avoidance of pesticides and other environmental toxins. Heavy metal detoxification would be beneficial. Most of us have heavy metals in our body. Out of those roughly 12 13 heavy metals, four are called neurotoxins: mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium. And these four go to the deepest level up to the nervous system. We talk about the body fluid, to blood, tissue, fat, bone marrow, and nervous system. They go to as deep. So in that case, we need to be getting tested if can for these heavy metals. And if they're there, clean them as soon as you can. At least at this point, there are possibility and available to cleaning and detoxifying yourself. Sweating to clean pores. So the skin is considered the third kidney. When we have toxins and is in the blood, so liver takes them and separates them into fat soluble and water soluble. Fat soluble is processed by the liver and with the help of the bile is emulsified. Water soluble sent to kidneys, and kidneys supposed to filtering them. If for some reason kidneys cannot filter them, then the skin had to filter them. So majority of the toxins are fat soluble. They are stored in the body in fat. Number one place for fat is adipose fat under the skin. So if you're not sweating, we're not cleaning all the toxins. They stay inside the body. So sweating to clean pores. No smoking, absolutely. You're inhaling all these toxins in your and you're going to the lung. Through lungs, it goes to the gas exchange into your tissues and your blood and goes everywhere in the body. Exercise 30 minutes at least 3 times a week. Hydrotherapy decrease inflammation in the gut. So constitutional hydrotherapy for the gut again. In generally, when we exercise with the arms, legs, rest of the body. Nobody exercises with the gut except the ballet dancer. So in that case, the stimulation of all the internal organs, which are extremely important, the stomach, large, small intestine, gallbladder, and the liver, pancreas, spleen, all that will take place with the help of the hydrotherapy. So that is also important to decrease inflammation in the gut. Lifestyle continues, Abhyanga, sports natural blood flow and decreases inflammation in skeleton system, enhances vata balance. So circulation is important. Flexibility of the joints, flexibility of the muscles, tissues is important. Shirodhara is the calms emotions and strengthens the nervous system. And basically, so it's just basically let's take away the stress from your body. So Shirodhara is oil drip on the forehead. So basically in the middle of the eyebrows, that is a place for pineal gland. Pineal gland stimulates the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is the master gland, then controls and takes care of all the other glands. So Shirodhara is very, very important by calming the mind. Svedana is the promotes healthy circulation and removes amas or toxins. That is sweating. So you're sitting in a steam cabinet. So this is basically telling some of the parts of the panchakarma we call the detoxification, the ultimate detoxification in Ayurveda. So that the central core, because Ayurveda like to find the root cause of the disease, and the cause is any toxins, remove the cause first, remove the cause, toxin. So panchakarma is the central core of Ayurvedic detoxification. Basti is the, again, cleaning the colon, balance vata, removes ama. So it is the herbal and oil decoction prepared only for you, put in a sterilized bag and you take it at your home and then insert and then basically just what comes out, you'll be surprised. Stuff sitting there for days and months get rotten, is all clean. So vihara, that should be a lifestyle. So generally, what Ayurveda says that when you're cleaning that, anytime season changes, you should do few sessions of panchakarma. But first time, you should do at least 21 to clean yourself. Some individuals who have chronic disease may need more. But again, cleansing is important. Once you clean the source of the toxin sitting in your body, definitely you start seeing improvement. After that, you need to be preventing from that, getting that source inside. So certain foods which are producing toxins to your body, stay from them. So why you're consuming something which is toxic to you? If you know every time you smoke and you cough your lungs out and basically you can't breathe, how good is that smoke? And so in that case, certain food you eat, I've seen people who like spicy food, they will chew a jalapeno and then they are they can't even breathe. Why do you eat certain things which are basically causing that problem? So listen to your body and eat food which are easy to digest. Then comes the Aushadhi part, supplement or something which are going to make things bring to balance. If for some reason they're already out of the balance. Triflaplex is a combination of three herbs, haritki, bahera, and amla. And so that basically is good for the digestive tract, also good for liver. So it's a rasayana. Rasayana actually in Ayurveda definition, jara vyadhi vinashanam, rasayan itya vidhyate, which means the certain supplements which are taking away the jara, the aging process, vyadhi disease. So disease process and the aging process, that is rasayana, keeps you healthy and young. And that doesn't mean we become little again or little, but we have the energy which you used to feel 20, 30 years ago. And until the last breath, you are energetic, eating, sleeping, enjoying life. And one day we are dead like a ripened fruit dropped from the tree. You don't have to be sick for a long period of time to wait for that process. Whoever came here have to leave, but the health and the brain and the body need to be intact until the last breath, and that is the journey of Ayurveda. GI cleans in the gut. So basically, in a time when the old fecal matter is fermenting inside and not being released, that is going to create a problem. So GI cleans help that. Of course, prebiotics and probiotics are important. Turmeric, we talk about golden herb, really anti-inflammatory, also antiseptic, antihistamine. So it's a wonder herbs. Everybody should use that. Ashwagandha is the number one consumed, I think, herb in the world at this time because of his, adaptogenic property. Everybody has stress and people can't sleep, people can't, digest. So everybody should be taking ashwagandha. So really calming herb. Trikatu have three bitters, which has ginger, which has the black pepper, and then pipali. So basically, or there are many other also bitters which are can be used. So Trikatu is there to balance, to stimulate the agni, so that you are able to absorb the food. There are true powders, Hingvastic, which has hing, asafoetida, and Lavan Bhaskar basically have different kind of salts together to stimulate the production of enzymes in the body. So if they are not producing enough, and helps digest the food. When we have inflammation, when you use anti-inflammatory, Gugulu actually is a anti-inflammatory, especially Trifla Gulu, specifically for the gut. Trifla, like I said, is a carrier going to digestive tract. If the Gugulu is mixed with that, then definitely is going to reduce inflammation in the gut. Gugulu actually is a chemopharmacal. Not only is anti-inflammatory, but also it cleans the blood vessels. So used highly in the people who, for the people who are have high cholesterol. So it cleans the blood vessel. Boswellia is also anti-inflammatory. So we combine them based on other existing condition. Increased circulation, Boswellia, skin tone, curcumin, which is a turmeric extract. Again, rest of depends on what other conditions individuals have. So basically, we're looking at all these combination, making sure we stay healthy. In the food, hydration is extremely important. Water intake is very important for the digestive tract. Be sure to drink at least 70 to 100 ounces of water, depending upon the weight of lifestyle. So in generally, the water consumption is half of your body weight in ounces. If I'm 150 pound, then 75 ounces is good for me. So generally we recommend 60 to 80 ounces. But again, when people who eat 68 ounces, we say simply 8 glasses of water, 8 ounces each. If you consume that, you're okay in the middle of it. But there are many individuals who drink 1 or 2 glass of water in a day. The rest of the time, they will tell me how much Coke they drink, it has water, how much tea they drink, it has water, all the coffee water, they're justifying. I tell them water is only which you can use to wash your face, wash your dishes, and wash your clothes. If you can wash your face with coffee and Pepsi and Coke, then there's a water. If you can't, that is not a water. So anytime, even we squeeze one lemon juice in the water, that is not pure water anymore. Your kidneys will sense that something they have to filter. Water is going to flush and filter the kidney and clean the kidneys. And whereas when we add something, then it adds a work for the kidney. So you don't add extra work, pure, clean water. And try to get a clean water from a good source. Well water generally, if it's tested, is a good source. Plastic bottles are convenience only, not the best thing, even to store water, because the plastic leaching is a big problem nowadays. So it doesn't matter what you eat based on your dosha. locally grown food, easy to digest and chew very well. Consumer of water and good fat coming from a good source. And with that, I'm going to stop here. Any question you have, please ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Would anyone like to ask Dr. Kaushik a question?
Yeah, I have a question. How can you detox from microplastics if you're not going to do panchakarma?
If you're not going to Panchakarma, sweating it does help a little bit, but not much. That is one problem with the plastic. It is not biodegradable. So plastic does mix with some oil. That is why the Panchakarma came to existence. And that is why using good oils, good fat is also important. At least it can dilute. Otherwise, it goes to the sources of the fat where the fat is and stored there. That's why we're finding that in the brain, because brain is generally pure fat. Neurons are floating in that fat. Joint pain, so or wherever there's a fat, so the four main places is the adipose fat on the skin, the brain, then the joints, and all the glands have fat around them for protection. So a lot of people who are children developing thyroid problem, the prostate problem, so all these are little glands where they are, unfortunately. So we have created something. Now we have 4-hour chemicals, so people are using non-sticks because they don't want to rub their dishes, and the non-sticks are there. But the fibers start coming out, they are not biodegradable. And same thing we're finding. So there are not that many ways unless something comes up which will be a binder to bind the plastic out. At this point, I'm not aware of anything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Anyone else? Okay, Dr. Kaushik's next presentation is Eating in Harmony with Nature, the Urinary System, and that will take place Tuesday, September 9th from 7 to 8 p.m. You can register on the Polling Library's calendar or by emailing me, donald@pollinglibrary.org. Thank you, Dr. Kaushik. Thank you, everyone, and I wish you a beautiful night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the remaining summer. It's beautiful. We complain, but a lot of vitamin D is free available.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor.
you.
Thank you.